Well, hey everyone, it's Rebecca Ruth, and thanks for tuning in today. But today I have with me Angel Adell. Hi, Angel.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. First interview of the new year. So, yay, you starting us off right.
I love it. Yes.
All right, so I like to jump right in. So, let us know where you are and what you do in the industry.
All right. So I am a Virginia resident, but I am from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm currently in Memphis, Tennessee right now. I am a fashion stylist. I am also a designer and I am a boutique owner. So I am working trifold, as I guess you could say.
Awesome. And so, okay, so you live in Virginia. What part of Virginia?
I live in Chesapeake, Virginia. So the Hampton Roads area is better. It's
Right.
better. But I also do travel to Richmond and the DMV area as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, so I live in the Hampton Roads area, used to live in the DMV area, and the nonprofit Runway to Life is in Richmond. So that's awesome. So
Well,
you're
area.
hitting all the spots.
I don't think you can live in Virginia without having some connections in like the DMV or Richmond. They're just like the hot spots.
You'd be surprised. I've talked to so many people, especially in Hampton Roads, not to call out Hampton Roads, but a lot of people in Hampton Roads have never been up to the DMV area.
Really?
Yes. And I have to
Wow.
touch on this again. My Hampton Roads people don't get mad at me, but a lot of people think Richmond is far. And I'm like, Richmond's like an hour and a half. I'm like, I'm not saying go every day, but I mean,
A great day
once,
trip.
right? Just like I was like an hour and a half, like in Northern Virginia DMV that you're talking about. It takes me an hour just to get through traffic sometimes. So
Right.
it's just crazy to me. It's just a different way of
Area.
thinking depending on where you are, right? Where you are in the
Yes.
state. So that's cool though. So what brought you to Hampton Roads from Tennessee?
Okay, so I came to Virginia through the military. I am a veteran. And I decided to stay after I separated from the military. And I finished getting my bachelor's and my MBA. And that's when I really went full time with my business. I had already had this business plan, but I actually went full time with it while I was getting my MBA. So that's why I'm still here.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
Oh,
And and also, so take us back. So you
way
were
back.
in the military, what branch?
So I was in the Navy. I went into the
Okay.
Navy 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went into the Navy in 2012 and I went on two back to back deployments. And then when I got back, I said, yeah. and
About that.
yeah. So separated and immediately went into school, got both degrees, and there we have it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So, military to fashion. Talk to us about how that transition. First of all, you said that you already had this business plan
Right.
for the military, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, where did this love for fashion and come from? Like, where did this business plan even come from, and how did so then what was the transition like to go from military, which is very regimented and where you're going, what you're doing, and everything like that, to I'm going to start a business.
So Rebecca, okay, so it's been in my blood to my family. We love business. We love to have and to be able to sustain. So this wasn't the first business I started, but the reason I started Effie Collective back in 2009, before I joined the military, I was in this period of my life where I was just transitioning everything. I was in my 20s and I had just did pretty much anything I wanted to. And now I was saying, hey, I'm hitting my mid 20s and I really want to gain a career. And so for me, that was doing something that I really cared about. And what I really cared about was filling in the gaps. And in the beauty industry, in the fashion industry, I couldn't find me. in that industry. And I was really trying to get those questions answered any way that I could, and still it wasn't possible. So I came up with a plan to create the bridge for that gap, and that was Effie Collective. And so I had this plan. I wrote it on the vision board, as we do our vision boards every January. But in 2009, in May of 2009, I had to leave my townhouse that I was sharing with my sister at that time. We stayed in the townhouse, but I had lost my job. I was working 3 jobs at that time. I had lost my jobs and everything just went to kaput. It was just done for. So after that, I was like, you know what? I don't even think this is going to come true. I think this was just some baloney. So I threw it in the fireplace and allowed it to burn up. Well, during that time, I just kind of like, well, I prayed about it and I felt like it was just an offering. Like I felt like it wasn't going to live, but it really did. And it just the roundabout way to getting there was to go through the military. And because the military has such systems set up, I knew that my business needed the systems, but the creativity needed time to flourish. So when I came out of the military, I actually did start a business as soon as I got out. I started a home service company, and it did very well. We were getting government contracts and things like that, but I was not happy with it at all. So we sold it. Then in 2018, I picked up Effie again. I already knew the name from 2009, but in 2018, I picked it up again. And I proceeded to start doing the safe route, which was basically make it into a magazine or a publication of some sort, and then branch out into other areas. But I still was not being true to myself. So that's when I said, you came to solve a problem, solve it. And that's when I started solving the problem. Let me help find the brands that fit, teach about fitting and alterations and finding clothes. And then I thought about it. I said, well, I would love to. Well, let me put it like this. A lot of my friends in other countries, my Nigerian friends, my Ghanaian friends, they always had these specially made clothes, right? And so I was like, I don't understand why I can't get something specially made for me. Why is it so hard to get a specially made outfit? And that's what my body needs. It's different. I can't find anything that fits it. So I decided to start sewing and get into creating outfits and different garments for people. And that's really when Effie Collective began to live on its own. And so now I'm in the process of just branching out and offering this service to more people. So,
Awesome. Quite a story. I have a couple things. One, when you say you couldn't find me in the
mhm.
clothes, that are out here, what do you mean by that?
so in particular, I mean fit, I mean style, and I mean my culture. And some people would say the style and culture are the same, but they're not. I have my personal style, but being able to find that fits my culture are two different things. And so I was not able to find that. I like to dress like very professional but laid back at the same time. And being able to find that the pants were always too slim, and being able to find something that I could really show my personal style, which is my expression, was difficult. So that's, those three components were what I was looking for, and it was extremely hard to find. So I made it.
Awesome. And I'm glad you brought up, you know, Africa. It's true. I'm originally from the DRC. I think I told you that when we were chit chatting
Yes.
earlier. And it's true. All of them have like custom made outfits. Like
All
all of them do. And it's like to us, that's such a luxury, I guess you can say here. It is like most of us do not, have custom made outfits for all of our outfits, but with them, it's just it's what you do, and they always fit beautifully. Somebody that I, in Africa, because I lived in Ghana, my family lived in Ghana for 3 years, so pretty familiar with Ghana and the culture there, but the vice president's wife, you should look her up. She, first of all, is gorgeous, but she always wears African outfits. And of course, they're custom made. She's the vice president's wife, but just absolutely beautiful African print, fits her to a T.
Mm.
She's gotten a lot of style awards, like internationally and everything, for her personal style and everything. So you should
Oh,
look her
wow.
up. She's as far as African wear is concerned, I think she's kind of leading that charge in the
Oh,
world.
wow. Okay, yeah, I am
Yeah,
gonna.
definitely look her up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she might be some great inspiration for you.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and then also, where did the name Effie come from?
So Effie is half of Ephesians. So I took off the SIANS and I put in and named it Effie.
Okay, and why is Ephesians? Why? What does Ephesians mean to you?
So there was a scripture, Ephesians 5:1, that basically tells us not to be ourselves. It tells us that we're not a part of everything else and to be ourselves. And my interpretation of that for fashion and expression was that we have the ability to really be ourselves. And the fulfillment of being ourselves in this world is what blesses others and blesses God. So I wanted people to express that and understand that through their being able to express their personal expression. And so that's why I named it Effie Collective, because you're going to get a collection.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. I love that. So tell me a little bit, like, mentally, emotionally, what it was like for you. Because again, starting a business is hard anyways. And
Mhm.
anyone who starts a business, I hope, will never lie and say that it's easy. And I'm very transparent about what it was like for me starting with what it's still like. It's not, I don't cry as much anymore. But when I when I
Yes.
first started.
It's crazy that something that is tangible, but is still, as an infrastructure can really have such an emotional, now I don't want to say strain because there's joy in having a business as well. But it can take you on an emotional roller coaster. And only in retrospect can you really appreciate everything that you've gained from it. And so in this business here, I just did a video about some of the things that I felt in 2020. I just thought that Effie was going to be the biggest thing in 2020 because I saw people just consuming items, and I did my research and people were online shopping, and I was coming up with this new model, and I did not do well. I did not do well last year. And I was really upset about it because I would see people just start a candle business and all of a sudden they're just like making this money. So for me, that was really something I had to grasp and remember. I will say in 2020, I decided to do a lot more wholesale than designing my own pieces and bringing out custom pieces. And I just fell in the flock with everyone else who had decided to do the same thing. So I did not stick with what made me different. And that was what killed me in 2020. I lost a lot of money in 2020. And now I'm here saying, as long as I stay genuine to the goals that I had and to who I am, the reason why I created this business, then I will flourish no matter what. Because success is not always being the top. Success is being able to give and serve the people that you intended to serve. And so that is where I had to go back to. And that is my mantra for the year of 2021 because, yeah, 2020 was a bust for me. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I appreciate your honesty, because the thing is, like, I always say, like I said earlier, I don't sugarcoat. Having a business is wonderful. I love having my own businesses. At the same time, I will never be the one who sits here and says, "Oh yeah, just do it. Just get your website and just grow with it. Like, I
Yeah.
will be honest with you and tell you that, in some cases it is blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And but I love that you are open and that you're honest about it, because I think people need to hear that. People need to hear that there's both sides, but you're here. It's January 4th, 2021. You have a plan, you have a vision and a goal for this year. But I also appreciate that you shifted last year, because even though for you the year is a bust, you were willing to shift. And I think that's the other thing about owning your own business is, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to shift. Sometimes you have to be willing to shift. But then, come back, and you got to get back to who you are as well. So I do really appreciate the transparency there and the honesty there. I was gonna ask you that. I was gonna ask you, how did you, maneuver 2020, because the fashion industry as a whole shifted last year. Like,
Yes.
everyone shifted in the fashion industry last year. So I always like to see, like, just the other day I saw someone in our group. I'm going to shout out Tiffany Lewis. She did a virtual, she did a virtual fashion show, so
Oh,
it's like
nice.
everyone, actually, she's from Memphis. She's the one that's saying, one of the people I know from Memphis. So everyone shifted. So I like to hear those stories about, you know, how you had to shift last year, but looking forward into 2021, what you're gonna do moving forward. But how is that for you emotionally, mentally? I know, like, financially you've talked about it, but how did you deal with the emotional and just mental aspect of of last year as far as your business is concerned?
So last year, so really I had some mental health concerns for myself before really delving into the business. And one of the things that I did for myself with really focusing all the way on the business, because I didn't have a job anymore. I wasn't doing this as a side thing, it was my primary income. And so I had to get a counselor. And that was one of the main things that I believed helped me, because having that third party, you can talk to your family members. You may even have a trusted family member that you can talk to about your business. But sometimes that a counselor sticking with the emotional aspect of how it feels with your business, how do you feel, is so important, because my counselor used to tell me things like plan something that you want to do in your day. And for a long time, I was just so like grinding the gears, trying to get to wherever, and or to accomplish my goals, but I wasn't resting enough. And being able to discuss my mental health was declining because I was sacrificing myself for to accomplish my goals. And so recalibrating through 2020 happened, and I recalibrated, and now it's a balance. And that balance is so important, because some days you do need to, when you have a business, to just cry. It did mess up. I did not like that. And that's okay, and but you can't stay there. And so even when I got down, I had the counselor to kind of bring me back up and say, okay, at the end of the day, this was our thing. At the end of the day, if everything fails, you can still go get a job. Like, like let's think about this. Not all is over with. And because of that balance and because of that emotional support, I was able to make some strategic decisions. I was able to say I failed and not be afraid of failure as I was in the past. So, emotionally and mentally, I know that business is hard, especially when you have people depending on you. So, having counseling, having a counselor, not just a trusted friend, but a counselor, is so important to getting, especially through those first couple of years, because there's so much movement and shifting, and it's trying to find its roots. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it without counseling,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah, you hit so many different things, like so many nuggets, as I like to say. First of all, getting a counselor, we love to hear that anyways when people reach out for help, but especially especially in this group, especially Runway to Life, like we love to hear when people have taken that step to get that help, because there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with seeking that professional help.
Yeah.
I know people who just have a counselor just on the regular, just because
Yeah.
there may not be anything crazy or serious going on, but they just have that regular time with that person. And I love that you emphasize that, like, not just a friend, not just your mom, not just your sister, but an actual professional counselor that's really for like your friend, your mom, your sister. Like, they're great for venting, for kicking it, for,
Yeah.
but when you really need to work through some things, and you really, those people can come alongside you, but you, sometimes you do need that professional, yeah, that professional help, I would say.
And
And yeah.
one of the things is like even with dealing with clients, some of the things I could talk about with my counselor is, you know, I dealt with social anxiety. So going into this industry where people are looking at me and attention, and now I'm concerned about your image and what you think of my expertise, and so it's kind of like that was the self criticism and critiquing, and it was so much going on that it took me and my just pouring that out to my counselor and really just bringing some of that what my client and I talked about to the conversation with my counselor and say, how do you think this, I reacted to this, or how do you think this could have been done better? And that really helped me to build my business and my customer service, but it helped me feel more comfortable going before people.
Yeah, that touches on pretty much the heart and soul of why this group was created. Because obviously this industry is all about outward appearance. Like, we can't argue that. That's what this industry is about. And so even though you're not a model on a runway or in a magazine, being even the behind the scenes people, now you're under that same scrutiny
Yeah.
as those in front of the camera. And
Right.
so yeah, so that's why this group was created, was because of exactly what you just said.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of dialogue that goes on, even if you're not speaking in this industry. And
Exactly.
you have to care for yourself.
Exactly. And I love the word you used. You said recalibrated. I That stuck out to me. I'm like, I'm gonna start using that. I like that. I get a lot of nuggets from people. So this is why I love doing these interviews, because I get a lot from other people. And I think, honestly, the thing I hope the most for people coming into 2021 is being real, because I had to get real with myself. I
Mm,
put in my New Year's post in here that there were days last year where I danced around my living room with loud music and I was laughing, and then there were days where I had to pull myself out of bed because I was just crying and just, I don't want to do this, I don't want to get up, I don't want to face the world, I don't want. And I think
yes.
there's a lot of, one, freedom, but also healing in admitting that. And then also, you never know. One of the awesome things about sharing, and especially in this group, is so many times I have people reach out afterwards, and something in the message, or something in something that the interviewee said or I said touched them in some way. And even though they're not publicly telling their story, privately they come to me and they say, it really touched me and encouraged me to this, that, and the other. So
Yeah.
I'm always grateful
Yeah.
when individuals are willing to share. So thank you for that. Um, so I mean, you and I are like in the same area. So I'm sure once the world calms down a little bit, we will probably meet in person. But
Yeah.
how does everyone else find you on social media?
So you can find me at Effie, it was EPHE Collective, on Instagram, Facebook, on effiecollective.com, effiecollective.com. Oh my goodness. And so that's how you can find my services. But if you just want to connect with me personally, then you can find me at Angel Talks Life. That's my personal website, blog, and I love to connect with people that way. I do have other stylists connected to Effie Collective, so we're all on there, and you'll see a lot of our profiles as the weeks come along. So you'll be meeting some new people.
Nice. Well, always nice to bring on new people, new stylists. And it's funny because I think there have been quite a few collaborations through this group. I know, because of last year, a lot of things didn't happen that we wanted to have happen. But that's something else that I love about this group as well. It's just, you know, you get to meet
Networking.
exactly networking and collaborating because you can have 25 stylists in the room and every single one does it differently.
I
Every single
Yes,
person.
yes. Or they may have like a particular niche that you never thought about,
Right.
and it's just
Hmm.
like, oh, really? Okay.
Exactly. So it's like, to me, I always say when I talk to other stylists, there's really no competition. Like, you have something that I just don't have, and vice versa. Like, we can
Right.
probably style the same client, but we will style that same client completely differently, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. So work together. That's awesome. So, but Angel, I just want to say thank you for
No,
being
thank
our
you.
first 2021 guest.
No, I thank you. This was a wonderful opportunity, and I'm thankful that you had me here to share my story. I really appreciate that.
Of course, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So yeah, so like I said, I look forward to meeting you in person soon.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna let you go, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you.